Welcome to the All British Motocross podcast with myself, Ben Rumbold, and Dirt Hub boss Paul Ooten. Just reflecting on the Hawkstone International. We've got a guest with us as well this week, this week's podcast. But yeah, Paul, how was your weekend with a very hot computer, no doubt?
It was stacked, mate. It's mental. For me, obviously following Hawkston from afar on the live timing, which is always fun because I don't envy any organizer at Hawkston trying to get live timing working and stuff like that with the internet issues there. But yeah, so I was following it from there. Supercross, the 2K, Super Enduro, loads going on. So yeah, loads for me to follow. But it's one of them. Do you know what? I always wish I'd be at Hawkstone International because I love it. I love Hawkstone. I love the event. But do you know what? I can't be everywhere. I can't do everything. And you were there. So,
Yes.
and Dave Rich was there, sending me great pictures and doing my race report. So big up to Dave. Um, but yeah, no, it looked obviously you were there. You were right in the thick of it, in your in front grey jacket. Is it
Yes.
grey? Still grey.
It is great. Yeah, they have great because I think no other team is going to run that color. So yeah, that's what we went with.
Cool. So you were there on MXGP in front duty. But yeah, you must have what I'll tell you what, I'm gonna ask you a question first. From an MXGP standpoint, because the MXGP class was rammed with big hitters,
Yeah.
right? So what was your standout takeaways? Obviously, we saw who won. Glenn Coldenoff was the winner
Yeah.
of the MXGP class overall and the super final. But what were your biggest takeaways from the MXGP class?
Well, I mean, just a bit of housekeeping for everybody listening that we will have our guests speaking very soon, our guest pro rider, and then after that, we'll reflect on the rest of the weekend's action. So we will talk Arenacross, the 2K Supercross, at the end of the podcast here after our special guest. But yeah, in answer to your question, Paul, the biggest takeaway is I wish the Wolf would have been there because Valan is for real. He is the real deal. Absolutely rapid on that bike, and he's not even a sound specialist. But yeah, he was absolutely untouchable in MX2. David Braceras was his main competition. David is a top 10 MX2 runner, running on the Jackie Martin's Honda. A good solid privateer, not a stand specialist by any means, but even so, to be 4 or 5 seconds a lap faster than a rider of David Braceras' quality, then yeah, Valan really proved that he could cut the mustard. And he was talking, he was confident. We interviewed all the top riders before the weekend, and this is all for Behind the Gate, episode 1, which will be out the evening of or the day or two after the Argentina first round of MXGP. So yeah, we're basically the preview of the season, if you like. And yeah, we were interviewing for that. So talking to all the guys, it struck me that yeah, Valan had a particular air of confidence about him, and his new mechanic is actually British, by the way, who has worked before he actually's moved across from the Dixon team to now work with Factory Kawasaki, and he told me beforehand that yeah, Valan is really quick. So yeah, he was absolutely brilliant, and that is definitely the main takeaway from it. Coldenhoff loves Hawkstone. He did his stuff. He got the starts and stayed there. Maxime Renault was impressive to win race 2, and again he got the start and stayed there, and that was solid. There weren't a lot of passes being made at the front, which was a real shame. I think Hawkstone was just that level of toughness that makes it tough to even get round, let alone make up time and attack people. So I think that was the main factor there, in that there was a set speed that they could go to. But again, always fascinating to see the top guys push around there. We did miss Jeffrey a little bit, but we had Factory Yamaha, Factory Kawasaki, 2/3 of Factory Fantic. And yeah, like I say, the MS2 guys there. Would have been nice to have Kaido Wolf. I think that would have been really entertaining. He would not have had it all his own way if the speed of Valan is to be believed.
Yeah, no, that's interesting to see. Like I said, it's another contender in that MX2 championship potentially there. I've seen a few people say that the track was deeper than normal. Did you get that vibe?
I think it was deeper than 24 because 24 was particularly dry. I remember Martin Barr saying that's not really Hawkstone, it's far too dry. So yeah, I don't think it was particularly deep in comparison to other years. I think it was about right. I think I had a bit of rain It was cold, but it was dry overhead, and the hill was in, and we were all happy. But yeah, it looked like it had had a bit of treatment. It was quite deep in places, but all the tougher for it. And yeah, it separated those that are ready from those that are not, shall we say.
Yeah, and that's it. That's an interesting one. Obviously, I had Jago Geertz up there. He was fifth. How did he look? Because, in terms of me looking at live timing and stuff, he didn't look quite on the pace of those top guys. But how did it look to you?
Yeah, I was hopeful that Iago would get a start and get up there and prove what he could do, but I think he's come off by far his worst year of racing. Full stop. He's never had such a bad year as last year, and they are still working on that new bike. And it looked to me like he was just training. It was like a training day for him. He didn't really have much spark to him. Good, solid, fast pro rider, still way out there ahead of a lot of top riders. But yeah, still to challenge at the top of GP level, I think he will be digging deeper when it comes to the Grand Prix. But for him, I think it was just a case of get through the day solid and get some laps under his belt. In a similar vein to that, Carvin Vlanderen was very much the same sort of mentality, I felt. A little bit disappointed for those guys to not really sort of look like they were pushing too much, but you can understand it. It's what Hakan Karkus used to call Beaucaire a lemonade race, and it is that sort of thing. It's not there's no champagne on the line. But yeah, Vlaanderen also sadly looks like his knee is not 100% yet. When we interviewed him on the Saturday, he's still getting a bit of pain. He's looking forward to the season, but whether or not he'll be able to make progress from what was otherwise a very good year in 24 for Vlaanderen, it would be a shame to see the big South African Dutchman not improve. But I've got a bad feeling about his year because it doesn't look like he's starting fully fit at all.
Interesting. Interesting. A question I was going to ask you because you were there watching it. Now I'm looking at screen live timing, and sometimes
Yeah.
you can tell quite a lot by that, and sometimes you can't. But Valen was obviously leading the super final, and quite a long way ahead of Paul Jonas and Roman Febra. Febra, get that right. Now, how much urgency did those two guys have to pass their MX2 counterpart on the same team? Because it must sting a little bit. I know, it is a pre-season race, but to me, to see a dude from your team making his debut on a 250 ahead of you, you're not going to want to see that, are you?
No, no, it was entertaining because Valan did exactly what he needed to do, which was get the whole shot and go. And he had nobody in front of him at all, just went for it. And at his pace, the no 250 had a chance, and the 450 guys had a task ahead of them. But Fevre actually started the better of the MXGP riders. And I don't know quite what happened, but we were stood by the bomb hole watching that area. And because we heard that some of the riders were jumping in, which is all good fun. But for future reference, I think we'll go to that area of the track earlier in the day because I think more jumped in the earlier races. But it's a nice spot, that one, because you can see quite a lot of the track, and that helps in the super final when you've got the riders coming through. So we had that extra excitement. But yeah, Fevre basically going into where the old whoops were, just looked like he came to a stop. I initially thought it might be a bike problem, but then he got going again. So whether he sort of got the jump wrong and chopped the throttle and suddenly stalled it, that looks like what happened. But he was in a strong position, and trust me, the urgency was there. But yeah, he did come to a stop, and then I think he fell elsewhere as well because he suddenly went back behind Jonas, and then he was pushing Jonas all the way. Well, he went a bit further back to Jonas, had to catch him back up. But yeah, ultimately it wasn't much in it because the last lap, Valan had his two teammates, Jonas third, Fevre fourth, right on his back wheel for the entire last lap. So that was entertaining stuff, but he managed to just block them out.
And phenomenally enough, Mathis was a minute in 10 ahead of Jago
Yeah, yeah,
in the super final, and nearly 50 seconds ahead of Maxime Renault. 50
yeah. None of the Yamahas got off the gate at all. Well, I think Vlanderen went down on the first lap as well, so he was even further back. But yeah, none of those guys got off the gate at all. Took their time getting through the MX2 riders, and yeah, they had no chance of catching Valan from the very first lap.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so talk about we obviously we want to talk about the MX 125 in a second, but let's just talk about the Brits. First up in MXGP. In the super final it was Adam Sterry who was the best Brit in 11th, but
Yeah.
overall top Brit was Josh Gilbert. Nice to see him on a Honda and number three again, is it? Was he 326?
No, he is 326. Yeah, I think for the same reasons last year, he intends to do GPs. He did. I've seen, like I said, we both saw him in the entry list for Argentina, but then his dad said to me, "See you in Spain." So I don't know if that means he's skipping Argentina or not. Apparently, John Adamson, his teammate, is going to race Spain as well. So we'll see both of those guys in Kozar. But yeah, I hope to see Josh in Argentina, but we'll see. In fact, the two teammates came together at the start of the super final. They clashed out of the gate and robbed each other of a good potential result. And then Josh's chain came off about halfway through the race. So yeah, that was the end for Gilbert's run. His chain came off, and he was having to push back from the middle of the track. But yeah, Josh actually rode really well. He was one of the few riders to move forward, which he did in the second race. He pushed his way past his teammate Adamson and Sterry to move forward there up to where he finished in race two, which I think was yeah, ninth. So yeah, from that side, none of the guys really had anything for the GP boys, although they both finished ahead of Tone Dell, who had a bad start in race one. And then Bogers had a bike issue, it looked like, in the second race. So yeah, for those guys, I think for Josh and Adam, they're quite close together, and they'll be close together again, I think, throughout the British Championship. So depends how that compares to Conrad's pace. If it's close to Conrad's pace, we're going to have a good British Championship on our hands. And yeah, we'll see what those guys do.
It would have been interesting. I know everybody would love to have seen it, but yeah, Conrad in there, it would have been intriguing to see where he would have, where he would have been in that pecking
Yeah,
order.
yeah, it really would have been. If he rode like he did the British Championship round there, then yeah, he could have been challenging Fevre, and he could challenge the top. Could have been challenging the top three: Koldenhoff, Renault, Fevre. I certainly think he was a match for the Yamaha boys, Geerts and Vlaanderen. I think personally, a fifth would have been where Conrad might have landed, but it would have,
Yeah.
yeah, would have been dependent on starts. If he got the start and cleared off, yeah, he could have bossed it, but we'll never know.
We will never know. But yeah, so Josh Gilbert overall in MXGP ninth, Adam Sterry 10th, John Adamson 11th, Jamie Carpenter, who is our guest, who will be on shortly, was 12th on the Crendon Tru7 Honda, Brian Bogers 13th. Lewis Hall, interesting because I think he had a good ride towards the latter stages of the day. I think it was Super Final who had a good ride. So nice to
Yeah,
see Lewis back in there.
yeah, he kept plugging away, and you can't ask for more than that at Hawkstone. Especially for the likes of Lewis and Ben Edwards, Jack Beniston also I noticed, just kept on chugging around the laps out. So yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. Charlie Cole had a bit of an off day. I think he was right at the back in both races, which was a real shame on his Fantic debut. But yeah, those lads like Lewis and Ben Edwards and Jack Beniston, they had a real good churning day out amongst the stars there. Real test
Cool.
at Hawk.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's you're not going to get a better first outing than that in terms of testing yourself against the world's best on UK soil. Talking of the Phoenix Tools Fantic Racing Team, I understand Josh Vale, now moving on to MX2. Josh Vale crashed out in qualifying and's broken a collarbone, which is
Yeah.
a shame to see because he would have been interesting to see how he would have fared against some of the GP riders and the EMX riders there. Who stood out to you in the MX2 category from the British riders?
I'll just say, just looking at the results there, the qualifying, actually, Josh qualified 11th as he crashed right at the end of the session. So that's right between Callum Mitchell and Ollie Colmer, two solid British Championship contenders. So Josh is right in the mix there. And the same token, Reece Jones, earlier in the session had a crash, didn't put a time up. And we understand that there's a possible leg break for Reece Jones there, so we a knee problem. So we really wish Reece all the best in his recovery, and we hope that he can be back for quite a few British Championship rounds. But yeah, in terms of British riders in MX2, there's only one answer to that: Ben Musto. What a race from Ben. He didn't really feature on our podcast before as a likely contender, although we did speak about the ASA United Gas. He stayed loyal with them, and boy, did he repay them. What a great start. He was right up. He was second to Valan for quite a lot of race one before Braceras and Mesters came past him. And yeah, so fourth in that first race was brilliant. He held back Casimir Henderson, who was on the charge towards the end of the race. But yeah, Ben Musto was really good there, and then backed that up with an eighth in race two to clinch fourth overall by 2 points from Callum Mitchell. So yeah, Ben was a real surprise. He's usually been a fast starter. He was up towards the top of British Championship races last year, but he was impressive at Hawkstone. He definitely was the best Brit I think in either class on the day. He just was the most impressive result for anybody for sure.
Fair play. Like you said, next up, Callum Mitchell. Quick one. Callum Mitchell's also signed for a speedway team for this year. There you go.
Wow.
A little bit of speedway info for you. So yeah, I think he's in the third division essentially. So he's going to be riding for Kingsland, I think it is.
Wow.
So yeah, because I think he's a local guy, so that'd be interesting to see. But yeah,
Especially at the start.
yeah, absolutely. That will make a massive difference. You know what? And it might help his motocross in terms of starting even more, that
Yeah.
sharpness. So yeah, it certainly won't hurt him. On a Triumph, the Works Total Triumph team, fifth overall. I think they were pretty stoked with that. And another Triumph was sick, which was Billy Askew. So yeah, I think Billy may have expected a little bit more from himself in this one, but what did you see of Billy?
Billy had a tough one. The first race, I mean, I've just seen footage today actually of he collided with Max Werner, the German on the Gabriel SS 2014, and yeah, he collided with him and went down. So completely not his fault. Like Werner got a section wrong and veered across the track, and Billy was committed, and that meant he hit the floor. And I saw him at one part of the track on two consecutive laps, nowhere near the same line, and I was like, okay, it didn't look like he'd lost his head. I think he was just frustrated, which we've all been there as racers, so fully understandable. I think he might have felt a bit of pressure, perhaps, to make his mark at the start of the year. But yeah, came back with a solid fourth in race two. That was a fighting fourth as well. He had to move forward for that, and he did move forward past both of the Gabriel SS24 KTMs, if I'm not wrong. I think he passed Max Werner, and then Giant Doanson, I think, crashed. So yeah, I say I think because I spent a lot of the second block up on the hill, so I was trackside, but you don't see an awful lot of the race action from there. So if there's a few I thinks in there, that's because I didn't maybe see all of it at that point. But yeah, Billy rode well, and he moved forward in the second race to get fourth, which was best Brit, and yeah, that was more of what we expected. It's a shame they didn't both him and Joel Rizzi. I mean, Joel had a disappointing day, 9th and 19th. But yeah, for Joel and Billy, they didn't go out in that the super final, which I thought was a bit strange. But they obviously made a decision, and but yeah, sixth overall was not bad for Billy, considering his first race when he finished 12th. Then yeah, he bounced back well for sixth overall.
Cool. And you mentioned them before, but the Gabriel SS 24 riders making their debut for the team, Guy and Dunson.
Giant Doonson. I actually asked him because I know he's doing British Championship, so I asked him in Spain what is how to pronounce his name. So it's Giant Doonson, in case anybody wants to know.
Okay. I still ain't gonna be able to say that. Max Werner, I can say that. I reckon I can do that one.
Werner.
Yeah, Werner. It is even
Werner.
say that one. Max Werner. Yeah, how did they look? Obviously, result wise, not the best, but both very, very young riders. This experience is probably done them the world of good because they're gonna know what to face in about 6 weeks' time when they come up in the British Championship opener there.
Yeah, 14th and 16th in race one. I saw them. I think they had, well, they certainly had a bad start, and they didn't really move as much further forward as they would have wanted to. And I was pretty certain that Sean would have had some tough words for them. Sean Simpson, obviously team boss there, would have had some tough words for them in between races. They did get out the gate much better in race two, so the rocket obviously helped. And then Yeah, but still not brilliant. I mean, Max got a fifth in race two, and he held on there. And I was surprised by that because I didn't think he would be on the same league as Giant, who was challenging for the EMX 125 Series Championship last year. Very nearly won it. So yeah, for him to be behind Max Verner, even I thought was a surprise. And then race two, he was with him, but then yeah, he we got to say he fell because he was suddenly a lot further back and ended up finishing 12th in race two. So 14th overall for Giant and 9th for Werner, behind Glenn McCormick, who had a great day for Chambers KTM, in 8th place overall, and Casimir Henderson, the Finnish rider who has been racing on these shores for quite a few years now. So Casimir came back, and took 7th overall with a 5:10 scorecard. So yeah, inconsistency all around for MX2. These young riders cutting out amongst them, start dependent as well. But yeah, for the SS2014 team, the mechanic was shouting at me saying we want to get onto the Dirt Hub podcast because we want to talk to people and introduce them to the MX2 British champion for this season.
Okay.
So
Talk
he was
about
bigging it up.
Yeah,
Gary,
yeah.
Gary the mechanic, he was bigging it up, and I know he listens to this, so I did pay attention, Gary. I was taking notes, and I'm sure Gary would like to tell me what Sean said to the two riders after race one. But yeah, they stitched it together. They plugged away, I think, is perhaps the best term in the super final. They just kept on keeping on, and yeah, that's all you can ask, really. So there's more to come there, but I think yeah, maybe a wake up call for that team. They know they got a lot of work ahead of them, but they have EMX 250 rounds in Spain and France before the first British round at Hawkstone, so I'm sure they'll be ready for that.
Okay, interesting. And we'll just go to 10th rider, Sean Mahoney.
What a ride from Sean!
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know much
brilliant.
about him, so you have to tell me because yeah, when he come up, he was right at, I don't know if it was race one or race two when he was right up the sharp end.
Yeah, Sean, a Welsh kid who yeah was he got some help from. Oh, I'm sorry. It's left my brain again. He was on a. I think he got some support from Gabriel on the KTM squad, the British Championship. Actually ended 2023 with a big crash at Monster Mountain. I seem to remember his dad running onto the track at the end of the day, and yeah, and Sean wasn't anywhere to be seen in the British Championship the following year. So 2024, I'm not sure what Sean has been doing, to be honest with you. I lost track with him a little bit. But to see him up there in fifth for most of the race, I think he only had a late pass from Henderson to drop him to sixth at the end of race one. He got a great start and stayed there. Perfect. Really, really good, surprising result. And then, yeah, the second race, a few riders had better starts. And Sean didn't have such a good one. So, yeah, he ended up finishing 13th there, but still 10th overall for Sean. I'm sure he would have taken someone's hand off for that at the start of the day. So, yeah, great riding. That really bodes well for his British Championship. We really hope for a good year for Sean.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. You know what? I love to see a rider that you're not used to seeing up there, and like I said, maybe that is one of our riders that could be right in the mix when it comes to the British Championship. Based on those results, you'd have to say, take
Yeah.
3 or 4 of the riders ahead of him, and suddenly, we've got a rider that could be pushing in top 5, top 6s.
Yeah, and your voice was ringing in my ears as well for race one because Gavin Stevenson was right up in the mix early on. He had a great
Oh yeah.
start. He did get past a little bit further on. John Rizzi included, just got past him there with about a lap to go. So yeah, Stevenson came through to finish 10th in race one, 15th in race two for 12th overall. But yeah, still a solid day for number 38.
Yeah, no, for sure. And right, we better do it. EMX 125, phenomenal weekend for Jamie Keefe. Just a phenomenal, really. If you look at the last 6 months, really, for this young lad, he's had pretty spectacular few months, really, for this young guy. If you think from the nations through to now, like you've got to be on cloud nine if you're Jamie Keefe, haven't you?
Yeah, and even more spectacularly for those who didn't know or haven't seen the video on social media, he absolutely lunched it in qualifying. Like he absolutely planted both himself and the bike into the ground, a real big one. I didn't see it, but Joe, the cameraman, saw it And I've let something slip there, haven't I? Yeah. But Joe, my mystery cameraman with MXGP, saw the crash in qualifying and said, "I'll be surprised if Jamie is okay." He was okay. The bike was not. So they had a real hasty job to get ready, and they actually missed the entrance to the start. So he had to line up last, and he was far on the inside, which is where nobody was going all day. And again, I saw video of this. He bolted from that inside gate, and he almost had the bike angled towards the middle of the pack. So he literally came across two or three riders straight out the gate. But he had a great start, and from there, he was untouchable in EMX 125. So Jamie Keith, he's with JK Yamaha now. That's the team that Isaac Gifting is on. It's actually been announced today on mxgp.com and soon to be on Dirt Hub, I think. So yeah, from that side, he's with a good team, an Italian team, and he's working hard. And for EMX 125, which I'm fortunately going to be able to watch if the schedule allows, I cannot wait to see how he gets on at Cozar, St. Jean, and all through the calendar. It's going to be great to see Jamie at work.
Yeah, and we got, there were some good performances, weren't there? Charlie Richmond looked really good.
Yeah, he did.
Results we got here: Drew Stock, Hayden Stat, Freddie Gardner. Is there anyone out there? Obviously we rattled those off, but was there any riders, like a Sean Mahoney-esque ride from anybody in the EMX 125 class?
Yeah, special shout out to Lewis Spratt, who I think drove down from Aberdeen to do to do at Hawkstone there, so finished ninth, which is great stuff. Yeah, I noticed how you skipped over the Bulgarian name.
Yeah, you're gonna give
Venceslav Toshev.
nice.
So yeah, of course, being Bulgarian, Jack Bronicle couldn't resist asking him if he knew who Dimitar Rangelov is, who was perhaps actually the only Bulgarian winner of a GP ever in the early 80s. And apparently he's a trainer, so he has actually trained Toshev. So Jack Bronicle loved that. But yeah, so he went well. He was fifth with a 5-3 card. Hayden Stat, first ride on a 125 and on a Yamaha. 3-7 results for him. Good ride. But in fact, hang on a second, they had 3 races. Sorry, I've got to scroll across there. So yes, that had a 3-7-4, so a decent ride there. Drew Stock, just that little bit stronger, just overtook Stat on the last lap of race 3, which put it on the 3rd place overall on a tiebreak. Charlie Richmond was strong as well. It was good to see Charlie up there on the 125 again, a new rider to the class. So yeah, these kids are coming, and it's good to watch. Freddie Gardner was also strong, second in race 2. Really gave Jamie a race for his money. So yeah, it's impressive all round, but I can't look past Jamie Keith for rider of that class. He was just phenomenal, especially considering he had a massive prang. I can't overstate how big that crash was in qualifying. The bike was toast.
Fair play to Jamie, and like I said, all of those guys: Charlie Richmond, Drew Stock, Hayden Stat, then in the top 4. Just one bit of news before we move on to our interview. So Kawasaki are backing the British Motocross Championship, so a manufacturer is getting behind it. The riders they announced, basically the Dixon Racing team is going to be the official UK Kawasaki team. Taylor Hamill, who we've always had that question mark, is going to be the 450 rider. And Bobby Bruce, then, been very quiet, as we know, on the Bobby Bruce front. But Bobby Bruce will be the MX2 rider. And then sort of a satellite ride will be Freddie Bartlett with the 772 guys there, Crane Chamberlain over there as well. So that is the Kawasaki riders sort of named, not by Dixon Racing Team, by the way. It come out on a PR about Kawasaki UK sponsoring the championship. But yeah, interesting that Bobby Bruce has been named in there because it's been very quiet, and Taylor is confirmed 450.
Yeah, Bobby is kind of physically recovering from what was a pretty brutal 2024. He's still young enough to do it, and he's actually taken a step back to EMX 250 this year, along with the British Championship. So not to have such a punishing schedule, because he really beat himself up a little bit last year. So a little bit of a reality check, if you like. But yeah, we'll see how he gets on. I think in EMX 250, he could be a challenger if he can find his groove, and we really hope he does, because he's a true talent.
Cool, excellent. Yeah, well, that's it. That's pretty much all news-wise at the moment I've got. Obviously, we'll talk Arenacross a little bit later. But yeah, time to crack on and catch up with Jamie Carpenter. So over to our interview.
So yeah, here we are, joined by Crendon Tru7 Honda rider. Now, of course, on the MX1 side as well. Jamie Carpenter, welcome to the show, Jamie.
Yeah, nice to speak to you guys again.
Absolutely, yeah. Coming off the back of Hawkstone International, are you still feeling it in the arms and legs? Is it because like it usually took me about a full week to recover from a day at Hawkstone? So yeah, for yourself, how is it now? You're a bit better than I was.
Yeah, not too bad really. No, my fitness is quite good. Like cardio wise, just still down a bit on strength from where I'd like to be coming off the injury over the winter. With the priority just getting some bike time in. But now we got another 5-6 weeks before the races start, so I'm kind of moving into that to try and get to 100%. Yeah, at the beginning of the season, if not throughout, kind of thing.
Yeah, nice one, and always a big shake up there. But it was a decent day at Hawkstone weather-wise. Obviously, it was nice. It was cold but dry, which is we'll take that over warm and wet any day, won't we? So,
Yeah,
and yourself, you had a decent day there, Jamie. 12th overall with a good couple of solid results there. What was your assessment of the day in general and of your day?
Yeah, it was definitely worth doing. Just get a couple of races under my belt. Still early. Like I say, got a few weeks to the season start. Wasn't like really overall happy with my riding, especially at the beginning of the day. But got some good laps under my belt in the second race, and yeah, learned a few things and what I need to do. Yeah, going into the season.
Yeah, and obviously, joining the Crendon Tru7 Honda team, after what you've been through over the last couple of years, like it has been a roller coaster for you, in and out of teams and different things and injuries, and you just got sort of yourself a good team ride with the Dirt Store team last year, hit by injury. Did you think that, the chances of you getting a ride like this was possible? Were you worried about that, coming into the winter?
Yeah, definitely. But I managed to sort it pretty soon after my injury. To be honest, once I knew I was out for the season, kind of thing. Yeah, I spoke to the Dirt Store guys, and they weren't sure. There wasn't really much going on there. If it was mainly going to be just 250s. The Triumph deal wasn't around at that point. And then yeah, I've rung Dave nearly every year for about the past 4 years, just seeing what's about. Yeah, keeping in contact. And yeah, straight away, I think it was just good timing. And he literally sent me a deal that day, and I snapped his hand off, kind of thing. It was nice to have it all done and dusted before I'd even had my surgery, so I kind of had a plan and knew what I'd be doing months before.
That's quite nice, and I bet that probably aided your recovery, didn't it? Because there was no stress. You had a big goal to look ahead to.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I say, it was really nice knowing that, like, yeah, I knew what I was going to be doing before I'd had surgery, and yeah, like you say, a goal to work towards.
Yeah, I mean, you've had a couple of years now with troubles there, haven't you? I mean, you were there with sadly now defunct Crescent Yamaha team there in 2023. I remember that I was commentating on that race, the Cusses Gorse MX Nationals round, wasn't it? Where you had an accident over the big tabletop, and then obviously last year in the Dirt Store team. I can't quite remember when the injury was. Just for those who aren't up to speed with your situation, Jamie, what were those two injuries?
Custis
Sure.
Gorse, the actual crash itself wasn't even that bad. It was just bad timing, and I'd gone down in front of someone, and they'd ridden straight over my head, kind of thing. So I had quite a bad concussion and broken my nose, and had like a hematoma on my neck. But luckily, it wasn't too bad. It was more just the concussion and the nose. A couple of weeks, I was back on the bike. Yeah, and then last year, just got on the shoulder injury. Separated my AC joint, quite a high grade. Sometimes you can just have rehab and not need the surgery. But how high a grade it was, and the time of year, there was no point giving it a couple of weeks at a time and then seeing if it was any good. Because otherwise, if it wasn't any good, I wouldn't be back 100% for this season if I left the surgery too late. So it made more sense to have it done and yeah, be 100% for 2025.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, then yeah, you had that very bizarre situation with the ride that wasn't for the start of 2024, and then managed to
Yeah.
land on your feet with the Dirt Store squad. This Honda now, though, it's a brand new machine. Obviously, it's been on the factory team, and now a brand new production machine there. I've heard there were issues in getting the bikes through. Have you been able to get your hands on a bike pretty quickly and able to get some good time on it? So, did you get to Hawkstone with a good setup?
Oh yeah, definitely. I know the team. The bikes were later than they would normally get them, but it didn't really make any difference to me because I couldn't ride until December anyway. I think they literally got them a week before I had the green light to ride, so it didn't really make any difference, and I've had a decent preparation.
And I suppose because you've been, in the last 12 months, you probably rode about 3 or 4 different brands. So you coming in to ride the new Honda probably, doesn't really affect you like it would someone who rode last year's edition.
Yeah, I mean, people haven't got a clue what I've been up to really the past year, 18 months. With the bike situation, I do get a lot of stick from it, to be honest, if people really understood it. But yeah, lucky with the Honda, the engine is exactly the same as last year's bike, so the team already had a really good package to start with. Yeah, and the handling's great. A few suspension tweaks over the winter, and it hasn't really taken much, to be honest. And I've really been able to just focus on my riding for a change.
That's cool. And you're going to be under the awning with Conrad. Obviously, we saw how good Conrad was last year in the outdoors. Obviously, really pushing on with Arenacross as well at the moment. Are you looking forward to having someone at that level? As your wingman. Obviously, he knows the team. He knows the setups, and let's be fair, he's going to be gunning for a British title. So, he's going to be a guy that's surely going to help bring you on.
Yeah, definitely. Me and Conrad, we're basically the same age. We've always been in the similar classes and races. We get on pretty good, so it'd be good to do some practicing together. Yeah, like you say, he's kind of next level in the British Championship at the moment. I wouldn't really say there's anyone close to him. So yeah, it'd be good to pick up a few things here and there.
Good stuff. And yeah, in terms of situation there with Conrad, obviously, and it takes the pressure off you, I guess, in that he's kind of expected for the championship, and you're, I guess, I mean, I don't really know how to say it other than like an extra rider for the team, a sort of backup, so to speak. I know I don't want to be, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but as you said, nobody really is on Conrad's level at the moment. So, how are you sort of seeing your sort of ambitions? Where are you sort of really wanting to be in 2020?
The goal, yeah, like you say, that's exactly like how I see it. I'm not like unrealistic. Conrad's, yeah, definitely. I think he's far ahead of everyone else at the moment, British Championship level. Yeah, for me, the goal is to try and get on the podium at British Championship. I mean, I've done it MX2 a few times. I've had two wins overall, but I've never been on the podium in the 450 class yet. So that's the plan. And yeah, speaking with Dave, they see that I've got the speed and the potential. She's putting everything together. That's the goal for 2025. Hopefully, get on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. And this new format, of course, with the British Championship there, we've now got the qualifying scenario happening there. So, yeah, what do you think about the changes to the British Championship and that new format in particular?
Yeah, it all seems really positive. How the days. It's nice to have less classes and like it used to be in it, but yeah, be more quality for the pro races. Should be good.
That's cool. And obviously, there's talk of comrades nudging into a few GPs, even AMA nationals have seen sort of mentioned. Have you got any plans to, tag along maybe to a GP? Obviously, we've got the British GP in the summertime this year, which is great. Obviously, nice and local for you. Is that on your agenda for 25?
Yeah, Matt Lee's quite early. It's all dependent on the level I'm at racing at the British. Really, if everything's going well, there's no reason not to do it. But yeah, at the end of the day, like my deal and stuff is British wise. Anything other than that, I've got to kind of find a way to make it pay. Which luckily I've got a couple of sponsors that are keen on doing that. But yeah, it all depends on how well I'm getting on. I'm definitely up for doing the EMX Open round at Lommel in the summer. Shame that's only one round, but yeah, I'll be looking forward to doing that.
That's cool. And talking about making it pay, and we've had various riders on this show. A few of your outdoor sort of rivals and people that you race up against have gone to do the Arenacross tour this year. Has that ever been in your plans or thoughts?
Yeah, I did get asked if I wanted to do it, but the way I looked at it, like the top boys, they're getting upfront money to go and do it, so I can understand. From my point of view, there wasn't like start money to do it, and I looked at like the cost of the travelling. I would have only got back on the bike for 2-3 weeks after 5 months off, and then all new everything. Just seemed like a bit of a recipe for disaster, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so that was my attitude on that. Maybe next year, if I could stay on the same bike and prepare for it right, yeah, maybe we'll see.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're able to hit it sort of fully healthy and everything. I mean, have you done much of that sort of thing before?
Only a little bit when I was younger, and a couple of like the outdoor ones in the summer. But like we say, it's preparing for it right. The only really British rider that I know prepares for it properly is Conrad. He leaves a van down in Spain with bikes and flies back and forth, and is able to do motocross and supercross preparation at the same time. Where a lot of other riders, yeah, they might not prepare right, then they go in, crash, and have an injury, and then it messes up their whole year really.
Yeah, absolutely. And you took the words out, you took the question away from me there with the EMX Open, saying that you're keen, but you are keen to do that one. I remember you mentioning that one to me before. So, yeah, how have you got on with that one in recent years?
Yeah, I've only done it once. Like pre-COVID, I used to try and spend a lot of time in Belgium and Holland. It was easier, like riding the sand and those tracks. Yeah, and I've done a lot more GP in the MX2 class 3 times. Some people would say, "Why would you want to do that one?" It's probably the toughest one to do, but just enjoy it really.
Yeah, and on that note, extra meetings and things like that. You're a what would you class yourself as? Because you're pretty much a full-time rider, aren't you? I know we were going to speak last week and today, and you had work and stuff on. So what is your sort of situation? You full-time in the summer and work a bit in the winter, or?
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible. I'm in a pretty privileged position. Yeah, my family's got a business. We do plumbing, heating, drainage, and a few other things. And I'm always up to stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, all sorts, whether it's with our fleet or yeah, packing and organising or ordering. But I'm quite flexible. Yeah, I probably ride 2-3 days a week during the season. But yeah, at the end of the day, motocross doesn't put a roof over my head. I love to do it and do the best I can for as long as I can, like age wise, and yeah, just making it all work really.
Yeah, and on that note, making motocross pay essentially. The Scottish Motocross Championship has, upped its prize money and offers a really good, phenomenal amount of prize money up there and great tracks. I know it's a long way for you. Conrad's gone up there with great success, so that's good. And then we've got the Nora Pro Championship, which or the MPC, which has got some local tracks to you as well, and obviously they're the
Yeah, definitely.
money in. So are any of them on the plans?
Yeah, it's like nearly confirmed. So when I did the deal with the team, it was always to register the British Championship and a second series, like the MX Nationals used to be. I think we were thinking that Gareth Hockey might be doing another series, but that doesn't seem to have happened. But then the Nora series has come around. There was talks that we might be doing the Scottish as a second series, but Conrad kind of does that off his own back. But I mean, I couldn't live any further away from the Scottish rounds if I tried. I think the closest one's probably 10 hours each way. Like Tane, the first one, I think is 13 hours from my house, so it's almost unrealistic. But I believe the plan, I'm 99% sure, is to do the Nora series. But with it only being 3 rounds, I'll definitely be doing other races like the Patchwick and the Hut Cup and things like that. That's kind of my plan at the moment. I might do the odd Scottish if it fits in, if I can tie it in traveling wise.
It seems to be a bit of an issue there in the absence of the MX Nationals. There doesn't seem to have been a series that's come back to fill that void. I think
No,
you're talking there about Gareth Harker running a series, and I heard that rumors that they might be running pro races on the weekends with BSMA Nationals, which Gareth was looking at. But yeah, that
yeah.
seems to be it seems to be a bit of a dearth. Are you guys? I mean, talking to your other sort of pro riders when you're practicing and that sort of thing, are you guys kind of like getting tips off each other as to like, where are you going to go to win money this year?
Yeah, I guess so. Like you say, we've all not really knowing what. Obviously, at the end of the day, the British Championship is the main one. Yeah, and if that's better quality, like in years to come, hopefully the prize money will be better, more sponsors, etc. So yeah, at the end of the day, 8 rounds of the British is the priority.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you fancying a bit of two-stroke action with the likes of the two-stroke festival, the VMXDN, and maybe even to expand on the EMX thing, the EMX two-stroke have a one-round championship at Lockyer.
Potentially,
Is
I
that on
don't I
your
don't have a two-stroke, nor does the team really with the Honda.
right?
So
Of
I
course,
don't know. If something comes around, maybe we'll see.
fair enough.
Yeah, and obviously we missed you at this 2024 Weymouth Beach race. That's one that's normally high up on your list there, mate, and you're always pretty impressive with that one. But yeah, obviously that one, hopefully be fit and healthy by the end of October to come back and do that. I don't know if you saw, did you watch that one this year?
No, I didn't. But I think the weather was really bad, wasn't it? This year just gone.
On the Saturday it was grim, and then in the morning it was really grim. The tide was really high, but then it came,
Yeah.
it was all right. We've been lucky, haven't you? The last couple of years that you've raced in it, it's been like a summer's day. But yeah, no, this year was a little bit different. A bit like old, to be fair. I remember freezing my nuts off, to be
Right. Yeah, it's always cold
honest.
and windy down here, even if it's sunny. No, it's just a good local event. It's only like an amateur thing, really, with the AMCA, but it's not far from where I live, and I really enjoy it. It's good fun. Don't get to do it that often, and it's quite good like publicity with the local town, newspapers, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always worth doing.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And yeah, I was just going to ask you a couple of other things. In going forward, obviously your plans 2025 are solidified with the Crendon Tru7 Honda, but you're still a pretty young guy. Have you got any thoughts on, beyond that this year, like America, and because we've seen riders dabble with some of the AMA nationals and stuff like that. Is there other plans on the agenda for you?
To be honest, it's a bit of a year on year kind of thing. Yeah, reevaluate all the time. Yeah, like I said, the goal is to try and podium in a British Championship. That's the plan. But yeah, definitely, like you say, America is kind of on the bucket list. I've done a couple of GPs. It would be nice to tick off the AMA race at some point.
Yeah, it seems to be a few of you guys have done that. The Sport Homes team seems to be very keen on it there. So yeah, it would be. I think a lot of modern motocross riders really fancy a crack at that series. Any particular favourites looking at that schedule that you quite fancy?
Not a clue, to be honest. I mean, all the American tracks look great. Like compared to GPs, they just look so much better to race, and like yeah, more scenic. The race looks a lot better. We'll see. Start the season and see what the gaps are like. I know there's been mention of Comrade potentially doing something over there, but I don't know yet if like what's materialised.
Nice one, good stuff. Well, I think we're pretty much running out of time there with you, Jamie. So yeah, thanks so much for
All
joining
right.
us on the All British podcast. Any last words for people to cheer you on for? Any thanks to sponsors and things?
Yeah, just thanks to my personal sponsors that keep me going behind the scenes. Yeah, looking forward to a good year. I think I've got like the right people around me after a tough couple of years, and yeah, getting good preparation in, and yeah, just keep working towards it.
Nice one. And the first one's the British at Hawkstone, is it? Is that your next time out?
I believe the first Nora Championship was the week before that at Oxford. I'm 99% sure I'll be there, and then there's also the first round of the Bridgestone the week before that at Cullen, which I'll probably do just to get a couple more races under my belt.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, wish you all the best with those and also with the full British Championship season there. So yeah, many thanks for joining us, Jamie Carpenter.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah, many thanks to Jamie Carpenter there for joining us. So yeah, hope that he has a good solid season. Somebody deserves to lace it all together, certainly for a whole calendar year. That would be really good for him. And yeah, so obviously we spoke about Hawkstone, we spoke to Jamie there. So yeah, the other big thing from the weekend, of course, well, many big things in the 2K beach race and so on. And massive congratulations to Todd Kellett there for making it 3 wins in a row. I had a French buddy say to me, the Union Jack is still firmly flying on French sands, I think. And I'm like, well, okay. I'm sure you would have been happy after Hawkstone anyway, with the French domination from Van Aert. But yeah, and of course, Arenacross, what a homecoming for Dean Wilson. Amazing result there.
Homecoming for Dean Wilson. Just go back up, right? Max Anstey,
Oh,
AMA
yes,
Cross win for the Brits,
of
right?
course.
Not only that, Super Enduro, mate, blitz the podium again. Brits, Billy Bolt, Johnny Walker, Ashton Brightmore again. So yeah, it was a good weekend for the Brits, mate. With Todd Kellett was unreal, absolute unreal. How he does that, I never know. Honestly, to have that mental strength to go past that many people at that speed for that long, unreal. The dude
Yeah,
is unreal.
it's an animal.
But yeah, so no, I just had to get in there about the other Brits there because it was a phenomenal weekend. Obviously, you were at Hawkstone and I was typing away here, keeping an eye on everything else that was going on. And yeah, I love it. It keeps me going, stuff like that. And like you said, a homecoming win in the Arenacross for Dean Wilson. And but fucking Comrade Muse, mate, bloody hell, he was quick. He was he was really going for it. Like, to be fair, I didn't think he was going to catch him because he was, he was a fair way behind at one point, but he got on his back wheel and yeah, the win was on his mind firmly.
Yeah, this is it. He's got the chance, and of course, it's going to be mixed in amongst the AX World Tour guys going on there for the 100th night of Arenacross, as they're branding it, their 100th ever event, which is a monumental achievement in itself at the AO Arena in Manchester coming up. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how that goes. But yeah, I know for sure that, I mean, the title may well have gone, but for Conrad that is, but for sure he'll just want to just stop that unbeaten run, won't he? Surely.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is double points, so it's not officially done and dusted. This happened last year as well, when it like Jack couldn't sort of celebrate it, like he had to rock up at the last round and make sure he got the job done. But like I said, it is all over by the shouting essentially. But for Conrad, it's not over. It's not over at all. And all right, second place should be his, although that is tight as well for second, third, and fourth. But for Conrad, a win is literally all he is thinking about. And you could see that, like, he was in attack mode. Like, those two were just so far ahead in Aberdeen. It was unbelievable. Like, they just, yeah, were far out. I love the Aberdeen track as well. I thought it was great that, the bit that sort of went off on a outside the sort of the arena as well. I thought that was great. And yeah, possibly, a little bit more of a slight motocross section, like how he was, that bit that was sort of alongside the curtain, was it?
Yeah.
When he come in, like, how quick was Conrad in that bit?
Yeah, that was pretty special to see. And also that we completely misspoke because the track map from the program there did not really reflect what happened on the night. So yeah, as people would have seen it, and of course Tommy's vlog also revealed there, spoke about the big long start straight, not quite as long as Hawkstone as Tommy suggested, but certainly the longest on the Arenacross tour. And yeah, I think it made for a nice breakup of the pack. So there weren't too many first corner incidents there. And yeah, the top guys with that double triple combination towards the end, then past the pits. Yeah, that was pretty sweet to watch. But and then of course, yeah, the big triple section next to the grandstands. So yeah, it was good riding from Dino and Conrad, and yeah, good to see Jack Brunel get back up there as well onto the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack is a great dude, and it's been tough for him, hasn't it? His sort of championship year coming in, from that to this, and it's just been a baptism of fire. Manchester is going to be a cracker, like you said. Everybody's back in for that. I gather that the dates and info about Abu Dhabi is going to come out this week as well, about the World Tour finale, the finals and stuff. So that's going to be interesting when that comes out. I think there's loads of PR meant to be coming out this week, so excited to see that. And yeah, I think Manchester is building up to be something special. I think they've got a lot planned, and yeah, we'll keep releasing info on that one. Like I said, I think Dean Wilson will be crowned British champ, but obviously there's other things on his mind. He might be thinking British Championship, but it is part of the World Tour. He's going to have Subras and the likes coming over that have a World Tour title on their mind. So not going to be easy.
Yeah, just a reminder of that, of course, the World Tour so far, just a single round, which was the Wembley opener, of course. Sorry, the Birmingham opener. I deviate there, but yeah, Zaragoza took that win. Dino third in the championship behind Zaragoza and Subara, and then yeah, Escoffier, Essertier, Ramet, they're all going to be back. I think Ramet, certainly the SR75 Suzuki squad there, will feel they have unfinished business, because they were certainly amongst the fastest riders there in Birmingham. And of course, a little crash in the main event really relegated Ramet to sixth, and he fought back from further than that to get back up to there. So yeah, it's going to be good to see how those guys flash around, and see if the British Championship lads have raised their speed through the extra races they've had between Birmingham and Manchester, and see if they close the gap a little bit on the top foreign lads.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, now that they've had some races under their belt, obviously they went in quite cold really in Birmingham. A lot of these riders, where the French riders are sort of a little bit more in tune, and the foreign riders. But yeah, I think with a few more rounds under their belt, that the British riders are going to be coming out swinging, I reckon.
Yeah, and I know for certain that Conrad Bourne in particular wants to beat all those guys as well to prove the point really, and set himself up maybe for, like you say, for Abu Dhabi and also for next year. You know, thinking he wants the championship, he's going to have to get that sorted. So, yeah, we look forward to it. So yeah, we'll see you next time, couple of weeks time for the next Dirt Hub All British Motocross podcast from myself, Ben Rumbold, and my colleague Paul Oonton. We'll see you next time.
See you then.